He wrote grotesque novels all night. No art is possible without a dance with death, he wrote. The truth is death, he wrote. I fought nicely against it as long as I could, danced with it, festooned, waltzed it around, decorated it with streamers and titillated it. Time obsessed him. Miss Oventrotsky reminded me of the amazing scene in Death on the Installment Plan, where Celine wants to stop the bustling of the street crowd. He screams on paper, "Make them stop! Don't let them move any more at all! There, make them freeze! Once and for all! So that they won't disappear any more!" I looked through the Gideon Bible in my motel room for tales of great destruction. The sun was risen upon the earth when Lot entered the Zoar, I read. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom, and upon Gomorrah brimstone, and fire from the Lord of heaven. And he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. So it goes. Those were vile people in both of those cities, as is well known. The world was better off without them. And Lot's wife, of course, was told not to look back, where all those people in their homes had been. But she did look back, and I love her for that, because it was so human. So she was turned into a pillar of salt. So it goes. People aren't supposed to look back. I'm certainly not going to do it anymore. I finished my war book now. The next one I write is going to be fun. This one is a failure. And it had to be, since it was written by a pillar of salt. It begins like this. Listen, Billy Pilgrim has become unstuck in time. It ends like this. Pooh, too, wheat. Slaughterhouse 5, Chapter 2. Listen, Billy Pilgrim has become unstuck in time. Billy has gone to sleep a senile widower and awakened on his wedding day. He has walked through a door in 1955 and come out another one in 1941. He has gone back through that door and find himself in 1963. He has seen his birth and death many times, he says, and pays random visits to all of them in between. He says, Billy is spastic in time, has no control over where he's going next, and the trips aren't necessarily fun. He is in a constant state of stage fright, he says, because he never knows what part of his life is going to have an act in next. Billy was born in 1922 in Ilium, New York, the only child of a barber there. He was a funny-looking child who became a funny-looking youth, tall and weak, and shaped like a bottle of Coca-Cola. He graduates from Ilium High School in the upper third of his class, and attended night sessions at the Ilium School of Optometry for one semester before being drafted into military service in the Second World War. His father dies in a hunting accident during the war. So it goes. Billy saw service with the infantry in Europe and was taken prisoner by the Germans. After his honorable discharge from the army in 1945, Billy again enrolled in the Ilium School of Optometry. During his senior year there, he became engaged to the daughter of the founder and the owner of the school, and then suffered a mild nervous collapse. He was treated in a veteran hospital near Lake Placid, and was given shock treatments and released. He married his fiancée, finished his education, and set up business in Ilium by his father-in-law. Ilium is a particularly good city for optometrists, because the General Forge and Founder Company is there. Every employee is required to own a pair of safety glasses and wear them in the area where manufacturing is going on. GF&F has 68,000 employees in Ilium. That calls for a lot of lenses and a lot of frames. Frames are where the money is. Billy became rich. He had 2 children, Barbara and Robert. In time, his daughter Barbara married another optometrist, and Billy set him up in business. Billy's son Robert had a lot of trouble in high school, and then he joined the famous Green Berets. He straightened out, became a fine young man, and fought in Vietnam. Early in 1968, a group of optometrists, with Billy among them, chartered an airplane to fly them from Ilium to an international convention of optometrists in Montreal. The plane crashed on top of Sugar Rush Mountain in Vermont. Everyone was killed, but Billy. So it goes. While Billy was recuperating in a hospital in Vermont, his wife died accidentally of carbon monoxide poisoning. So it goes. When Billy finally got home to Ilium after the airplane crash, He was quiet for a while. He had a terrible scar across the top of his skull. He didn't resume practice. He had a housekeeper. His daughter came almost every day. And then, without any warning, Billy went to New York City. He got an all-night radio program devoted to talk. He told about having come unstuck in time. He said, too, that there had been a kidnapped by flying saucer in 1967. The saucer was from the planet Trafalgar, he said. He was taken to Trafalgar, where he was displayed naked in a zoo, he said. He was mated there with a former Earthling movie star named Montana Wildhack. Some night owls in Ilium heard Billy on the radio, and one of them called Billy's daughter Barbara. Barbara was upset. She and her husband went down to New York and brought Billy home. Billy insisted mildly that everything he had said on the radio was true. He said he had been kidnapped by the Trafalgarians on the night of his daughter's wedding. He hadn't been missed, he said, because the Trafalgarians had taken him through a time warp so that he can be on Trafalgar for years and still be away from Earth for only a microsecond. Another month went by without incident, and then Billy wrote a letter to the Ilium Newsleader, which the paper published. It described the creatures from Trafalgar. The letter said that they were 2 feet high and green, shaped like plumbers' friends. Their suction cups were on the ground, and their shafts, which were extremely flexible, usually pointed to the sky. At the top of each shaft was a little hand with a green eye in its palm. The creatures were friendly, and they could see in 4 dimensions. They pitied Earthlings for only being able to see in 3. They had many wonderful things to teach Earthlings, especially about time. Billy promised to tell what some of those wonderful things were in his next letter. Billy was working on his second letter when the first letter was published. The second letter started out like this. The most important thing I learned on Trafalgar was that when a person dies, he only appears to die. He's still very much alive in the past. So it was very silly for people to cry at his funeral. All moments, past, present, and future, always have existed, always will exist. The Trafalgarians can look at all the different moments just the way we can look at a stretch of Rocky Mountains. For instance, they can see how permanent all the moments are, and they can look at any moment that interests them. It is just an illusion we have here on Earth, that one moment follows another one, like beads on a string, and that once a moment is gone, it is gone forever. When a Trafalgarian sees a corpse, all he thinks is that the dead person is in bad condition in that particular moment, but that the same person is just fine in plenty of other moments. Now when I myself hear somebody is dead, I simply shrug and say what the Trafalgarians say about dead people, which is, so it goes, and so on. Billy was working on his letter in the basement rumpus room of his empty house. It was the housekeeper's day off. There was an old typewriter in the rumpus room. It was a beast. It weighed much as a storage battery. Billy couldn't carry it very far very easily, which was why he was writing in the rumpus room instead of somewhere else. The oil burner had quit. A mouse had eaten through the installation of a wire leading to the thermostat. The temperature in the house was down to 50 degrees, but Billy hadn't noticed. He wasn't warmly dressed either. He was barefoot, and still in his pajamas and a bathrobe. Though it was late afternoon, his bare feet were blue and ivory. The cockles of Billy's heart, at any rate, were glowing coals, which made them so hot that Billy's belief that he was going to comfort so many people with the truth of time. His doors chimed upstairs had been ringing and ringing. It was his daughter Barbara up there, wanting in. Now she had let herself in with a key, crossed to the floor overhead, calling, "Father? Daddy, where are you?" and so on. Billy didn't answer her. She was nearly hysterical, expecting to find his corpse. And then she looked into the very last place there was to look, which was the rumpus room. "Why didn't you answer me when I called?" Barbara wanted to know. Standing in the door of the rumpus room, she had the afternoon paper with her, the one in which Billy described his friends from Trafalgar. "I didn't hear you," said Billy. The orchestration of the moment was this. Barbara was only 21 years old, but she thought her father was senile, even though he was only 46, senile because of the damage to his brain in the airplane crash. She had also thought that she was the head of her family, since she had to manage